For 300 years, Scotland has been a part of the most successful political union that has ever been known. We went to investigate further if this may be coming to an end. We started with an independence rally in Edinburgh to talk to some locals.
Independence is the only way that Scotland actually can get out of this mess.
After the rally, we talked to Maggie Smith.
When we had the independence referendum, I was the only person in my family who didn't vote independence.
Who has always felt British.
I feel almost cornered now. If it's being part of the UK or being part of Europe, then I feel then it has to be Europe. So yes, now I would vote independence.
We talked to Mark Diffley, who runs a consultancy and research firm in Edinburgh, to see where Scotland stands.
And we voted to come out of the European Union as the UK. Now, the problem with some of that is that when you look at voting patterns in Scotland, actually we voted in Scotland very much to stay in the European Union by almost a factor of 2 to 1. So 62% of us voted to stay in the European Union and 38% of us voted to come out. So in other words, as the politicians would say, we are being dragged out of the EU against our will and against the express wishes of the people of Scotland. So that's the background to it. That, you know, democratic outrage, as the First Minister would say, and there is kind of good reason for that, I think.
We caught up with First Minister Nicola Sturgeon earlier at an SNP conference.
It's not an either or, because independence for Scotland means we never end up in a position where we're facing things like being taken out of the EU against our will. We're in charge of these decisions. So independence for me is the most important thing, because it means on Brexit, on anything else, Scotland's in charge of our own destiny.
The Prime Minister has been challenged several times about a second referendum.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister sent a letter to the First Minister of Scotland rejecting the democratic right of the people of Scotland to have a choice over their own future. Mr. Speaker, this was not a surprise. The Prime Minister is a democracy denier. Can I say to the Prime Minister, as his colleagues privately admit, this position is undemocratic, unacceptable and completely unsustainable. The Prime Minister has shown utter contempt for Scottish democracy, for Scotland's Parliament and for Scotland's people. Does the Prime Minister accept that by ignoring Scotland, imposing Brexit with his pursuance of cruel and punishing policies, that he's strengthening the case for Scottish independence?
Most recently questioned Ian Blackford on this.
The key element is that circumstances have changed. We were told that our future as citizens in Europe would be respected. That is no longer the case.
In Glasgow, John Lawton, a Scottish businessman, thought it would be possible for Scotland to remain.
I think Scotland has a really unique case, even within the UK, to remain part of the EU. We've seen billions of pounds come in research and social funding to support some of our poorest communities, particularly when the right-wing Conservative governments in Westminster are forcing through a package of austerity. That doesn't taste well in a Scottish mouth. We're punching above our weight in the world. We're leaders in research and science, and these are things that are critical to the European Union.
At last night's BAFTAs, we ran into Scottish actor Brian Cox to find out what he had to say on the matter.
So there's so much that's going on that is, forcing us to an issue that shouldn't have possibly happened, but is happening. Organically, we're moving towards a state of saying, we just want to leave, we want to get out. Because also, our support for remaining, we're 62%. People wanted to remain in Scotland. So all of that has been ignored. So eventually you can push people so far and finally going to say, enough is enough. Really, we need to take care of our own destiny, finally.
It does seem to be that the death of the United Kingdom may be closer than thought.